Most people waste years thinking, analyzing, planning, delaying, spectating, doing the wrong things that aren't getting them a better dating life. If you just focused on doing the right thing for 30 days, your dating life would be changed forever. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to be some ancient king with 150 options, but your confidence is going to be tenfold and you're going to have an active dating life. I coach guys every day to achieve this. Okay, when I was 18, I just got out of a relationship that it was a 2 year long relationship. And things were pretty ugly, things ended pretty badly. After this relationship, I realized I had no other options. I wasn't able to get a girlfriend that quickly, like I expected I would be able to. You know, days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months. I didn't know what to do. So I go online. I watch a YouTube video. Guess what? Guess what, Joseph? You have to be a millionaire. You have to be jacked. So what do? I spend the next 2 years working out, only focusing on money, cut off all my friends. All right, finally get the job, where I'm making some decent money. I'm happy with myself for the age. Finally, I look good in the gym, and then I go out. Okay, now it's time to go meet some women. Guess who cares that I have money? Guess who cares that I'm shredded in the gym? Nobody. All right, look, I couldn't even talk to a girl. All right, look, I would talk to girls and maybe they'd find out what I did, which I thought was a big baller position, and they would say, "Oh, I know other guys who do that too." I mean, that's great. All right, so I couldn't talk to women. I had no confidence, and I was trying to cover it up with money, with muscle, which are all great things, right? But I was avoiding doing the thing that I knew I needed to do. Now, why was I doing that? Obviously, the self-improvement normie gurus who don't know anything about dating or women at all. Obviously, one thing is ego. Okay, I didn't want to admit to myself that I was bad at talking to women. That's a huge point of pride for most guys. Even if a guy is a virgin, he's going to say that he's good at talking to women, that he's good with women. Nobody wants to admit that, right? I didn't want to admit that to myself. So what did I try to do? Well, I can circumvent having to actually improve my communication by getting money, by building muscle. Then I won't have to. Or at least that was the theory, right? And when I started focusing on the right thing, my my dating life changed like in a month or two. I got my first girlfriend after that long dry spell because I just focused on doing the right thing, which is improving my communication with women and improving my confidence. Okay, that is the 80-20 when it comes to dating that nobody will actually tell you. All right, because unless you are obese, unless you are I don't know, 250 pounds obese, unless you are homeless, living on the street and you can't support yourself, you're able to get a girlfriend if you have confidence and communication. Okay, just point blank, period. How am I able to take a guy, let's say he's like I don't know, 30-year-old software engineer, smart guy, and in 30 days go from virgin to having a girlfriend, 30 days, and we changed absolutely nothing else but his communication and his confidence. All right, we've isolated the variable. That was the dependent variable that we changed in the science experiment, and that's all we do. And so I've proven this time and time again that for most guys, okay, if you are not homeless, once again, if you are not obese, you can get a girlfriend who's in a similar social status to you, okay? Maybe if you're making like 20K a year, it's going to be a bit more difficult to date, I don't know, a girl who's making 1 million a year, okay? I'm not going to deny that. But other than that, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to date a girl who's in a similar social status to you. All right, because what communication is, it's the bridge for your value. Because right now you probably have a couple things going for you in your life, right? You probably, I don't know, maybe hit the gym. I don't know, you're into like self-improvement. Probably a great guy. You probably care about your career, whatever. You have hobbies, have friends maybe even. Whatever. So you have a couple things going for you, right? But all of that can be completely ruined. You could be the most attractive guy and you could ruin it in a split second with your communication. You can say something that ruins all of the attraction. It doesn't matter, okay? Because that's how we operate. So I coached this one guy down in Florida, pretty successful guy, decently handsome fellow, had some experience with women in the past. Okay, but the thing is, when he was trying to start conversations with women, only like one or two of those actually managed to get into a conversation. All right. Even though he had all of this value. All right. So what we did was I listened to it and I gave him some tips. I'm like, hey, dude, you should try smiling. You should try slowing it down a little bit, adding in some pauses. All right. Now you should practice that. We fixed his introduction. And guess what? We fixed that and it tripled his results. Right? So just fixing the communication alone tripled his dating results. Nothing else changed about him. So that's how important this actually is. Now you know the mission for the next 30 days. It's to work on your communication, work on your confidence. And there's two drastically different paths you can take now that will have two very different results. And path A is this: you just go out every day and you wing it. So you just go out, you just talk to women every single day. That's it. That's path A. Path B is you have an actual system for improving this. You have a repeated process, you have accountability, you know exactly the skills that you need to work on to improve, to achieve your, desired dating life, whatever that may be. And so here's what I've seen with path A. So for example, a guy just booked a call with me the other day, a strategy session, and he told me that he's been trying to improve his dating life for 3 years now, which was the first time he sort of got into learning social skills and sort of studying this a little bit more on his off time. And so I started asking him, well, how's everything been going? And he started telling me. And what he told me was that he had quit multiple times. He'd had long periods of giving up and going back to like sort of his old ways and things like that. And I asked him about his stats. So what are his actual numbers? Like how many women is he actually meeting? Like what percentage of these women are leading to like dates, and numbers and things of that nature, and like relationships, second dates. And his numbers were not good. Okay, his numbers were not good. And I compared those numbers with some of the numbers of like similar clients to him, and it was just no competition. Like some of these clients were honestly even like shorter and like probably less financially successful, and they still had way better numbers. And so the reason that this happened is because he was just winging it and he didn't have accountability. So it's like you can try to reinvent the wheel by yourself if you wanted to. Like I could try to do a surgical operation on myself if I wanted to. Like let's say I had to I don't know, fix my shoulder and I decided I just wanted to do it myself. I could do it. I could probably study this for a few years. I could probably, you know, take out hundreds of $1,000s of loans. I could study medicine. I could study all the tools. I could do that. I could probably figure it out and see if I would be able to do that myself in a few years and a few $100,000 later. Or, I could just go to the doctor and have my, insurance cover and pay the premium, right? So it's like there's systems that people have spent thousands of years working on. And so I don't think guys should be surprised when they try to wing it and they try to do it all by themselves and it doesn't end up working. When it's difficult, like this guy who called me the other day, he was actually an intelligent guy. Like he was actually a smart guy. He was, I think, in like cybersecurity or something like that. But the thing is, he was starting from square zero. He was starting from square zero while also having a career, while also having a life, and not having any accountability, not having anybody to have his, be in his corner with him and helping him through the process. And so having the correct system, what a good system does is it allows you to time travel. It cuts out all of the fluff that you don't need to know, all of the unnecessary information. Like when I first started getting into this, I just watched YouTube videos. I took 6 or 7 dating courses, online courses. All right, 6 or 7. And I barely improved. Why? Because it wasn't a system. It wasn't a system. I had no actual step by step process for gaining all these communication skills with women. I had no accountability. All right. So I just fell back into my old habits, being lonely, being a loser, and it sucked. So, what a good system does is it'll get you from point A to point B as fast as possible. All right. Saving you years of time, saving you lots of pain, doing the wrong things, getting rejected because you're doing the wrong things over and over, and allows you to hit your goal, which is, depending on what your goal is, an amazing dating life, dating beautiful women. So that's what a good system actually does. I just had a client text me a couple days ago. He said, Joseph, I've made more progress in 4 days with your system than I did in 6 months. That's pretty regular because when you don't have a system, you're just sort of throwing shit at the wall and seeing if it sticks. Now you could have the best system in the world, but if there's no stakes, then you're not going to hit your goal. Let me explain. So when I was 18 and I realized that I was single, I had no options, and I was terrible with women, I realized the sort of predicament that I was in. And after I wasted months, watching YouTube videos, um, doing courses and not really improving, I finally got a mentor. And one of the things that this mentor had me do is actually make a goal. I had never done this in my life. I had never set a goal in my life. Nobody had taught me how to do it. All right, so what I did was I thought about, okay, well, instead of thinking, okay, I'm just gonna go get good with girls, I'm thinking, what do I actually want? And all I really wanted was to be confident and be able to walk up and talk to the cute girl, at the gym, whatever, anywhere I went. I wanted a girlfriend, right? I wanted an attractive girlfriend who respected me, who listened to me, and I wanted to go on amazing adventures with that girl, I wanted to take her, I don't know, to mini golf or wherever. That's what I wanted. So I really made that vision clear in my head and I imagined that. What would that be like? What would that do for my life? What would that do for the rest of my life if I had that confidence that I gained through this skill set? And once that became crystal clear in my mind, I could finally move forward and say, okay, I actually have some like motivation to want to move forward now. This seems like an amazing vision. The next thing that he had me do was he was real with me and he was like, Joseph, I get that's an amazing vision and everything, and that's great. But there is a possibility you never reach that vision. Okay? There's a possibility that you don't grow your confidence. There's a possibility that you don't get that girlfriend because it's not going to happen automatically. It's not going to fall into your lap one day like a Disney movie as you just stumble along life being passive. That's what he told me. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So he's like, what you have to do is you have to think about what happens if you don't make a change right now. What happens if you don't decide that, you're fed up with the way things are going right now and that you really want to make a commitment to this? What happens? Well, I just thought of myself in, 6 months, still no girlfriend, lonely, maybe, I don't know, hitting strip clubs. I didn't want to hit strip clubs. Those places are weird. All right, I like actual like connections with women. All right, I thought of myself still being socially anxious, unconfident, always the shy guy, in this social setting, I thought of myself going out, seeing other guys with women, and these guys were less good looking than me. And I kept seeing this. This was annoying me. And I didn't want that to happen. All right. So it didn't matter basically what I would have to go through because I just wasn't going to live a life like I was. I wasn't going to let that be the reality of my life. Okay. So once I had that, because humans are only motivated by two things: pain and pleasure. Right? But the thing is, people are motivated more by pain than they are by pleasure. Okay, so I can look at all the rosy future and I can fantasize, but if I didn't look at what happened if I didn't take action, then I wasn't gonna move. All right, and most people are never gonna change. All right, they're never gonna hit the dating life of they're never gonna achieve their confidence, their dream confidence, or their dream dating life. Why? Because they're not in enough pain. All right, they're already watching inappropriate websites. They're already like numbing themselves. They're numbing themselves of the pain. They're distracting themselves. They're not being honest with themselves. They're making excuses. So they're not in enough pain. They'll never be in enough pain to change their dating lives. All right? So it's unfortunate. I wish I could help them, but there's only so much I can do with this YouTube channel, right? So if you guys would like to make a change, if you're watching this and you're not happy with the way that things are going in your dating life, you would like to be able to talk to women confidently, unashamedly. You would like these conversations to go well. You would like them to be fun, flirtatious, without nervousness. And you want women to view you as a lover, not as just like a great guy, because you probably already have some value, but as a lover, someone they would go out on a date with and, go on romantic adventures with. Then I have a system that I literally have been working on for the past 4 years that has a proven track record of success over and over again. And you'll be working with me directly, and I'll just make sure that you win. I don't let anyone slip through the cracks. If you'd like to book a free call with me where we could at least talk about it, you can learn some stuff maybe, click the link below this video, book a free call with me, and yeah, we'll talk soon. That's all I have for today.